You must have met a person like Mindo. He doesn't overshare. He doesn't try to win the room. Yet somehow when Mindo speaks, people listen. Conflicts soften around him, and his presence feels steady. That's not charisma. That's not confidence tricks. That's emotional intelligence. And let's clear something right now. Emotional intelligence is not being nice. It's not being agreeable. And it's definitely not staying calm all the time. That's emotional performance. What Mindo has is control. Control over his reactions. Control over his ego. Control over what his emotions are allowed to do in public. Most people don't have that. Today, let's uncover the 7 arts of emotional intelligence so that you can become an emotionally intelligent one. 1. The art of pause. Mindo knows something that you ignore. Your first reaction isn't intelligence. It's conditioning. When old emotional wiring fires automatically, then Mindo pauses. Not because he's confused, but because he refuses to let a raw emotion decide his behavior. Someone disrespects him. Mindo doesn't explode. Someone challenges him. He doesn't rush to defend. He waits. He notices the emotion rise. Then he chooses. That pause makes reactive people uncomfortable because it exposes how little control most of us have. 2. The art of noticing. When Mindo enters a room, he's not thinking, how am I being perceived? He's asking a different question. What's actually happening here? He notices tension before it turns loud. Discomfort hiding behind smiles. Energy shifts before words change. And here's the key. Mindo doesn't make it about himself. He doesn't say, are you upset with me? He doesn't hijack emotions to feel important. He adjusts quietly. That's not manipulation. That's awareness without ego. 3. The art of mastering silence. Silence scares insecure people. So they talk, explain, fill the space. Mindo lets silence sit because silence does the work for him. It forces honesty. It pressures clarity. It exposes what words try to hide. When Mindo doesn't rush to speak, people assume he's grounded, even if his heart is racing. Silence isn't weakness. It's leverage. 4. The art of questioning. Most conversations are noisy. Scripts, small talk, performance. Mindo cuts through it. He doesn't ask questions to sound smart. He asks to understand. What's been draining you lately? What are you avoiding thinking about? What's actually exciting you right now? These questions disarm people. They reveal patterns. And Mindo listens, not to reply, not to relate it back to himself, but to gather information. Because in human dynamics, information is power. 5. The art of emotional regulation. Mindo doesn't leak expressions. He regulates them. Here's the hard truth. Emotionally unintelligent people leak emotions everywhere. Through tone, sarcasm, passive aggression. Mindo feels the same emotions. Anger, jealousy, anxiety. But he doesn't outsource them to the room. He processes internally, then responds cleanly. That's not repression. That's discipline. Anyone can explode. Anyone can shut down. Holding emotional tension without spilling it. That's strength. 6. The art of unmirroring conversations. When you talk about your pain, Mindo doesn't say, same thing happened to me. He stays with you. No interrupting, no fixing, no competition. Your nervous system gets the message. You're safe here. People who don't need to center themselves are the ones everyone trusts. 7. The art of disagreeing without attacking. Low EQ people argue to win. Mindo argues to clarify. He separates ideas from egos, opinions from identities. He sees it differently without humiliation. He disagrees without dominance. That's rare. And that's why Mindo can handle conflict without destroying relationships, because he is the master of managing impulses, emotions, and behavior. Emotional intelligence isn't a vibe. It's not aesthetics. It's not soft spirituality. It's emotional self-control. In moments where most people lose it, it's choosing restraint when reaction feels easier, choosing presence when ego wants attention. That's why Mindo isn't the loudest in the room, but he's the one whom people remember. Not for what he said, but for how safe, steady, and grounded they felt around him. That's real emotional intelligence that others feels too.